Guys, welcome back to League Crawler Live. Let me get this cut off. The music. I am stoked to have our guest for tonight. If you guys haven't seen the previous shows we did, we used to do this show in just audio, and the guests that we had were so gracious to come in and give us their time, because we were not set up like this at first. We were set up with just audio, no live stuff. It was posted on YouTube like a few days later or whatever. It was a cool way to start. It was a cool way to get to know everybody, and I'm really glad to kind of circle back to that tonight. It kind of reminds me of where we all got this started. But I don't have really any news items to hit from League Crawler Live. Matt hasn't let me know of anything. But we do want to give another shout out to those guys that are platinum Patreon supporters over at League Crawler Live. I think it's like $20 a month. And that's Soden Bowl, Blitz, SPA. What we do for those guys, you're going to see some commercials throughout this broadcast. It's stuff that they create on their own. They send it our way, and we produce these ads, and we run it through every live show that we do. And then we put it up on YouTube, and it gets to stay there forever. So they always have a forever audience over on the YouTube channel for everyone that comes and watches. So that's how that works. So huge shout out to you guys. You don't have to continue that support. You all know that, but you still do it anyway. And we love you. And so with that, let's get to our first commercial break. And as we come back, we are going to sit down with Brian, and we are going to talk about some super casual football sim league. We'll be right back. Guys, welcome back. If you see him, you got the man of the hour over here. TLK, Brian, what do you want me to call you tonight? For everyone out there that knows
Either
you.
one works.
Okay, man. Well, I'm going to go with Brian. That's how I know you. Like, that's what I've got in my notes. But I know that there's people that know you as TLK, and I don't want anybody confused and be like, who the hell is Brian, right? Like, so if they don't know you as TLK, this is who it is, guys. So I got to give you a huge thank you, man. When we first started doing League Crawler Live, it was all done on just audio. It was all done on, it wasn't done live. We pre-recorded this. A lot of the times we had messed ups, and I had to go back and edit things back together and like do it all. And you gave me your time. You gave me a lot of your energy. We had so much fun. It created a really fun relationship where I now have a really favorite team in your guys' league that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I want to start this off with a huge thank you to you. It's been an incredible journey from there to here, and it's guys like you that help make that journey possible.
Hey, happy to be a part of it. Yeah, I remember. God, I think it was your 6th episode way back
Yep,
when.
episode 6, 2/25, 2021. It's been just over a year. It's been 13 months.
Yep.
Yeah, and we had just started that. Like Matt had reached out and he's like, "Yo, I want something." I was cool doing it. I had no idea what the hell I was doing, and you guys you rocked it out. Huge shout out to the guys that came through. To CJ, the Flame Warfer, coming in with his stuff. Burnt Toes Gaming, you guys rock. Like, and you guys are what makes your guys' league awesome. So fill me in. Okay, so from that point, for those of you that don't know, fill them in on who you are, what you do. There's going to be a lot of people that have never seen that previous one. They don't really want to listen to our audio ones. So let's start fresh here with this one, and tell them who you are and what you guys do.
Sure. So I'm Brian, also TLK. I run the Super Casual Football Sim League. A lot of times on your server, I see the word Sim League tossed about, and it's never quite like what we have for a Sim League. So if you think about sort of the way our Sim League works is every single person goes in, they create a player, they grow, they develop that player, and that player gets thrown onto a team with other players. Humans run the team, so they have to deal with all the personalities in a locker room, each of whom have their own goals that are their own. And so those players are then going to be thrown into a game on Axis Football, group that we have a great partnership with. And from there, basically we leave it in the hands of the AI. We put the game on simulate. The Since I think we last spoke, we've changed the engine twice. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen sort of the depth and the sort of the breadth of which the game engine could change. It used to be you had 5 playbooks and you set that and you pray. Now you have sliders for situations. You have the ability to have these custom playbooks. And so teams have been able to really tailor what they have to their own strengths.
Yeah, no, watching you guys do your thing, but also watching the guys over at Access grow was such a cool way of us over at League Crawler kind of understanding what they were doing. Because we had you guys on first. We actually had not even
Yes.
talked to them like ever, and then we got them on the first time talking about the previous game that they had made. We had just had them on a few months back talking about Access 21 and the changes they had made there. So it was really cool, on at least my side, to kind of see how this partnership between the two of you grew, where they completely understand. They have a community over here that absolutely loves what they're doing, and they are geared to helping you guys do this, but also geared to creating their vision as well. It's a really, really cool thing, and something I think EA can learn from. I think you guys could do a much better job over there with that. So, let's kind of just talk about it from what you guys did experience with Madden 20, because I want to talk about Access a lot. I do believe that when we talk with you guys, that game also should be getting a lot of love and support throughout this conversation. So let's talk about it. From 20 to 21, what were the most notable things that you noticed as a difference and helped you guys continue this journey that you're doing?
Sure. So there are a couple of things that drastically changed. First and foremost, I want to say that everything I say and what drastically changed, we have also broken the engine in ways that I don't think the devs saw coming.
Right.
Fun fact, 99 speed defensive linemen are absurdly overpowered, and I don't think they were ready for that.
Gotcha.
That said, we saw some really, really cool things, such as uh, the way that the quarterback handles everything is completely different. So it used to be that the quarterback would either throw or they would get hit. They'd throw on target or they wouldn't. Now it's they can be hit while throwing, which makes them miss that throw. We've seen a huge change in sort of how the wide receiver position is played, as well as the quarterback reads. We've seen the passing is kind of actually the big thing. So what they did is it used to be in 20 that the quarterback would throw where the wide receiver was supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be. The problem with a physics-based engine is, and I love Access, so everything I say from the heart with love.
Yeah,
Um, the
and
problem
they
with a
know that.
physics-based, yeah, and every problem with a physics-based engine is that it doesn't always read things like we had this play that we dubbed the aliens play, because in season 1 these players would run into each other in the middle because they both had 99 speed, and rather than one of them slowing down for a second or going around, they'd stop each other, so the ball would actually end up in the corner where that wide receiver was supposed to be, rather than where the wide receiver was at that point in time.
So it's good. So like that's the really cool part of what you guys do, because like I've been to your guys' streams, right?
Yeah.
And the thing I love most about it is when you do find these wonky plays, in a lot of like Madden games. I don't mean to shit on Madden, but you know what, Madden, you fucking deserve it sometimes, okay? So in a lot of these Madden games or a lot of these Madden streams, you see these things happen, and like these gamers lose their minds. Like they're like, "What the hell, EA? Why didn't the animation trigger?" And for a multi-billion-dollar company, it should be working. But you guys, you have these things that happen where they just run into each other, and you do such a good job of just kind of navigating the non-emotional side of it and just having so much fun with it, but also learning at the same time and figuring out what these glitches are, and then you help the developers do it. And they don't get this negative animosity that a huge company like EA gets. They actually get to just sit down and work with you and be like, "What'd you see?" And you get to just tell them, be like, "Hey, this is fucking broke. You gotta fix it." And it's just such a cool way of doing it all. And I just want to make sure you understand, from an outside looking in, that is such a refreshing view of what I do. So it's just awesome, bro.
Yeah. No, so one of the things, actually, they have a channel which is just support bugs and glitches.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally get clips of the game. It's like the moment a bug happens, it's, can someone get a clip of that? Can someone send it to me? I'm going to send it to the devs right then and there. We saw one this past season where if the punter is tackled in the end zone before they can get the ball off, it is counted as a 1st and 10 from the end zone. That was a fun one.
Okay. So it's still coming its ways, but it's still a lot of fun, right? And
Absolutely.
the graphics looked better, like just the way the guys were like moving, it just looks cleaner. The one thing that I noticed a lot was it felt like they would have. You remember like the old Nintendo games where like they would run, but sometimes it just wouldn't look like they would run very fast. Like their legs were moving like fast, and it looked like they should be moving a little faster than what they were, but they just weren't. This version actually it kind of looks like their feet are getting like into the ground and they're moving like and there's more of a oomph to each step they take, and it's just a huge shout out to the guys that are making it. I know they're doing it. I know that when we talked with them, how much passion they have for this is a passion project, and it's awesome to see them continue to grow every year. Let's talk about what you guys want next year. So let's say they sit down with you right now and they're like, hey, growing forward for 22, what is it that you want to see?
So, I don't know. Well, I can talk about what they've posted on Twitter. I don't know what I can post based on what they've seen in Patreon. So, I'll talk about what I've seen on Twitter and sort of what they've been talking about.
Okay.
So, their big goal for 2022 is kind of two things. It's offensive line and defensive line interactions. And sort of they're bringing in a lot of animations. So all the revenue they've made for the past year is going right back to the game for the animations. And so there's a really cool clip that they have of this quarterback standing back to pass, throws a deep bomb, and the DB comes up and just smacks it out of the air. And you can see them jump and do that. And so
Okay.
it's really, really cool because now we're going to see a lot more DB interactions. One of the challenges that we have is because all of our stats are in-house, so we're basically tearing apart the stats and going, okay, this is what happened.
Right.
And so a lot of times the quarterback will throw these balls at like these 50-50s, and you have no idea what happens going into it. You have no idea if the wide receiver blocked it, if the wide receiver said, yeah, this is going to a DB, I'm just going to smack it rather than give a pick. If the wide receiver caught it, if the DB was able to deflect it, none of that. You just sort of see the two players throw up their hands, and then the ball does something. So we're going to actually be able to see that interaction next season. We're also going to see a much stronger OL interaction as someone who's played offensive line in the league for a bit. Seeing those OL interactions means OL stats, which is always fun.
Right. No, I definitely would like to see a little bit more. I guess I use the words like oomph. I would like to see a little bit more oomph on the defense. I know that right now it feels a little more offensive powered. The defense does a good job of making sure there's tackles.
I don't know about that.
I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
So yeah, I'm gonna use our league as an
I'm
example.
a Lions fan, so I tune in for Lions games. And they score a lot of points.
Well, the Lions had the best defense the last season.
Yeah, they score a lot of points.
Depends who they play. It was a very low-scoring, super casual bowl.
Oh, we're gonna talk about this. I've got my notes, bro. We're gonna talk about the Super Bowls. But tell me, so the defense is much better. So maybe it was a previous version I saw.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. When you were Knights, it was Knights beating the Narwhals, which means it was the third season of the Devil. Who was the Majors team you watched?
Oh man.
Because I remember I had you in the booth for one of the games, and I can't remember which one, and I should know this.
I was there for the Narwhals, okay? Because that is a name I will never forget, right?
Because I remember the TLK at like last dying seconds touchdown to win it all.
And then I want to say the other team was like the Flamingos, or it was
no, couldn't be the Flamingos. Flamingos were only in one super casual bowl. That was season 2.
Was it for?
If you name one team.
Bowl?
Okay, so I know what it was. It was Aliens Wallabies.
Yes. Oh, okay. That is what it was.
Yes. No, I did the math in my head. So the Aliens and the Wallabies actually both had really good defenses at that point in time. And kind of one of the things that we saw from actually the Wallabies dynasty came from them building a strong linebacker and defensive back core. I think you do see a lot of offense because of just sort of how the plays break down. So even when you see a touchdown, it's usually like these long, deep bombs. The player misses the DB misses their mark because of everyone was like maxed out in every stat. So it kind of created this problem. So one of the things that we've actually done this upcoming season is we did a lot of testing and sort of looked at what are different caps for different positions based on where they are, to sort of create this level of balance
Mm-hmm.
and try and make the offense actually look more alive. We got to the point that the run game became non-existent because linebackers and DLs were just getting to the running back 4 or 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage consistently. If a running back ended with 2 yards per carry, that was a successful game most of the time against a good defense. So,
Got you. Okay, so then I had it backwards because I guess just from watching Lions games, because I won't lie to everybody in the league. For everybody that's out there that's watching, it's like, oh my god, he's just a Lions fan. Yo, I purposely try to tune in for Lions games. Like it is what it is. When I hear that they're on, I do my best to get over there. And I guess I just never really feel like I showed up to a game where somebody stopped our offense. So.
well, the Lions also had the advantage of never playing the Lions defense.
That's true. That's a good point. Okay, so let's actually talk about the Lions. One of the things that I love most about your guys' league is you have Discords actually set up for individual teams. So for all these leagues out there that you have your own communities and you do this, I don't think you understand what these guys do as a community. They have their own community league-wide, right, for everybody to kind of come in and check their stuff out. But then each team, because each team has individual players and you actually just control the individual, you don't control the individual, it's all sim games, but you have control over where the player goes or these different things to an extent. You are in the locker room, so I am in the Lions locker room as just like a fan, and to see all these guys interact is just a blast. But it's just a ton of fun to see all of these communities thriving under like this one banner, but they all kind of like rotate together and they all kind of like have fun together, and like it's set up really, really well. Like the way that you guys do it, it has to be engaging. It has to be something where you like form this unity. If you're traded and you go somewhere else, it's almost like you're in there to like show like, hey, we're gonna do this, right? And there's like this vibe, and like if you walk into a locker room, everyone's like, bro, we suck. We've lost 5 in a row. Like it just kind of seemed like there would be like this fun atmosphere with it all. So let's talk about these locker rooms. As you set this thing up, what are some of the fun things that you guys see? Like, what's the goal that you're trying to see out of all these different things?
So every locker room's a little different. I've had the pleasure of being in, before Super Casual and actually still currently, I've had the pleasure of being in a lot of sim leagues similar to ours. There are obviously nuances that are different, but and the Super Casual model is its own thing. But regardless of that, one of the things that we've seen across the board is sort of like every locker room has their own personality. For example, I run one of the Dev League teams. So one of the things that I take personal responsibility for doing is when our teams are playing, I'm going to ping every single time a player does something of significance. I'm going to ping that player, let them know that they've contributed, they've done this, whether it's a pick, whether it's a tackle, whether it's a fumble. Well, maybe not tackle, but a tackle for a loss or a sack, those will get noted. We've had games where I've literally pinged the kicker 6 times because they've been our sole goal scorer. So yeah, every locker room's a little different, and kind of we let sort of the general managers do their own thing. They run it. It's their room to see fit as sort of they need to.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, man. And the way that I can only speak for the room that I'm in, but I just think that the way that these guys like just kind of talk with each other. And then lately, I went through and I checked today because I won't lie to you guys, I'm not checking it every single day. Like I'm not in there checking what the Lions are doing, but I do like to get in there every so frequently and just kind of say like what's going on. But it is interesting to me to see how like different people like to engage with it all, and I really like that about your guys' league is you can actually be as engaged as what you want to be, and it's not like you're gonna miss out on an experience. You get to have the experience you want to have, which is that's a huge selling point for you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. We're going to take a really quick commercial break. When we come back here, we're going to talk a little bit more Lions just because they're your last time back-to-back champs, baby. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back. All right, so let's you know what, CJ, I got you, bro. Let's talk about the Frosties. I
Oh man,
hear this is a fun team. Let me know what I'm missing. The Vancouver Lions are my squad, right? But maybe I got room for a second squad. Sell me on the Frosties.
so the Reykjavik Frost Giants are a really interesting team.
The
They like
where?
to
Where are they from?
Reykjavik, Iceland.
Reykjavik, Iceland. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so one of the cool things that we decided early on was you can be anywhere. We are one of our first teams was actually in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because there's no fatigue, there's no travel. Why build these fake barriers that don't need to exist? I see a lot of sim leagues are like we need
Right.
to be contained in the U.S. It's like no one's traveling anywhere. The AI doesn't know that it's got 18 hours of
It's
jet lag
true.
to deal with.
That
So
you're raising facts.
right. So the Reykjavik Frost Giants, they like to joke they are the most cursed franchise.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely have had their string of bad luck to the point that they were, I think, at one point in 3 consecutive seasons, they were 1 to 2 games out of the postseason every single time.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a long history. They were one of our first expansion teams.
Okay.
They were in our second set. So first was the Wallabies and the oh my god and the Hammerheads, and then the next season thereafter we had the Dragons and the Frosties, who were originally the
Okay.
Bears, but that's not here nor there. But
Okay.
they're actually a really cool team. They've got a lot of their GM is absolutely involved, and I think that's kind of my favorite thing. Like you can tell CJ puts his heart into it.
Mm-hmm.
He loves talking with the community, loves talking with the people. They signed a good running back in God. Now I'm blanking on his name, Clifford Wilson. Right off the Aliens this past off season in free agency. They had a huge free agency the season before. They're getting younger. They're building up a roster that can actually compete. And so I think one of the things that you're going to see is you're going to see them actually surprise a couple teams. They
Huh.
went into this past season, unfortunately, with a little higher belief as to how they were going to perform compared to their peers, than what everyone else guessed.
Gotcha.
So think of it kind of like, as we said, players can progress and they
Mm-hmm.
regress as well. So it would be kind of like the New York Jets. I say this as a Jets fan, saying, "Yeah, we've got this. This is our season. We're going to beat the Packers. We're going to beat the Buccaneers. We're going to beat the.
Ah.
We're going to. It's kind of we're hitting a little bit above our weight class. That
Okay.
said, I think Reykjavik is on the right trajectory, and I think they're going to surprise people in a couple of seasons, similar to that of the Lions.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm gonna say, CJ. From a Lions fan, right, to you. I'm actually a Cardinals fan in real life, right? And the Cardinals have never won a Super Bowl, so I have a really soft spot for those teams that just are not very good. So I'll tell you this: I'll root for the Frosties this upcoming year with the Lions. I'm not changing my Lions fanhood,
I was going to say,
but
if
I
Frosty's
will.
Lions super casual, who you picking?
Oh man, I would probably root for the Frosties if they've not won. I
All right,
probably
fair enough.
would. I think I just became a Frosties fan. I
Love
think
it.
that might have just happened. All right, man. Let's go. Let's go win us a bowl. All right, so the Lions win back to back, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. The Lions, had they won before this? Because I don't remember seeing a whole lot of winning. So maybe I'm just like this good luck charm. Like I show up, I become this Lions fan, and then all of a sudden they build this squad and they start going back to back, baby. Like, let's go.
That's definitely a factor. I do think also credit where credit's due. Dust is a brilliant general manager.
We
The
don't
amount
give
of
credit to GMs around here. I'm a Cardinal fan. Come on, bro.
Okay, so the GMs are a little bit different in our league compared to a GM in for the Cardinals,
Hmm.
because the GMs here come up with the playbooks, they come up with the depth charts, they come up with the strategy in the game as well. They serve as both coach and general manager.
Right, but I have an aura.
That's fair. But the amount of the
Yo, okay.
Twisters defense. So here's
Let's give
actually a
credit
great
where it's
example.
due. Let's give credit where it's due. I don't want to take away from it. So let's actually give credit here. What was the reasons that this happened? Why do we have a back-to-back champ, and why are they doing so well?
So it's a couple things. One, Dust really scouts, he drafts well, he
Mm-hmm.
builds players, he builds a core.
Mm-hmm.
He got a couple of good free agents, but realistically, that core has been there. I mean, I like to joke at him.
Hmm.
He's in my head office, but one of my favorite jokes is I actually left him. We have a presentation for our draft, and I left him off our presentation. So he went from unknown to literal champion. Um, but so I'll give a great example. It's sort of what he does in the example of actually another team.
Hmm.
The Lidditz Twisters are a really, really interesting team. They had one of the more aggressive defenses to the point that I think they did more pass rush attempts and more blitzes than any other team by far. So what does Dust do? He builds an entire strategy to mitigate that defense, which, mind you, the Twisters defense is no pushover. So even with mitigating, still a challenge. But he managed to basically shut down that defense by basically switching up his play style.
Yo, that's. I gotta give you some credit. We're gonna hit pause real quick, right? Because I've got more questions when it comes to this, bro. But I have got to give you some praise. The way you know stats and the way you can pull a recollection of previous things, like when I showed up for your guys' game, it absolutely blows my mind with how you intake and can bring up this information, bro. Kudos to you. It shows up when you do your streams. It shows up like when you are commentating with just like going through it all. Yo, you are the thing that makes this phenomenal. Like it's just an incredible product because of how much you are into it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean,
It
I like
is.
to think it's the community, but I appreciate
Oh,
it.
it absolutely is a community. I don't want to take away from the community, but here's the thing about communities, right? I mean, if your community's in here, correct me if I'm wrong.
They are.
But at least from my opinion, no. I mean, like, tell they can correct me if I'm wrong. At
Ah,
least in my opinion, when it comes to communities, generally people start investing time and energy into people that they believe in or leadership that they feel like they can get behind because this is going to give them the experience that they want to experience. Nobody signs up for something they think they're going to not enjoy. You know, like getting an enjoyment out of it is the prime thing. But there has to be somebody that's in control of that, or else it's just going to be like this insane product that just runs around with the chicken like its head cut off. And you are the person that is in top of that, and so your community goes as you go. And so as much as you sit back and go, oh yeah, absolutely, I feel like it's the community that does this, that is true, but it's because they are so bought into what you're selling. And brother, I have to give you credit for that. You've got me loving something that I'm not even a part of, and it's a fun, and it's fun because you make it this kind of experience. So hey, just congratulations to you, man. It's
well, thank
awesome.
you.
All right, so let's get back into this. The draft, you had a draft that just happened on 3/18. You have another one coming up on Thursday. Tell me what just happened a few days ago.
Sure. So we had our major league draft. To
Okay.
basically explain, we're a thriving league, and
Mm-hmm.
we have this thing called TPE or training points earned. You accumulate them over the course of your career. You throw in a rookie against these pros. It would be like taking a college player, a college freshman,
Mm-hmm.
and throwing them against an NFL team. They'd get slaughtered. So we
Woof.
have So we had our majors draft. That's basically your pros. Then you have your development league,
Mm-hmm.
which is exactly that. We call it the Dev League for short.
Right.
So you have four teams there. We're starting our draft. So if you actually create now, you would be in that Dev League draft. And so we're doing all that. I run the Barcelona Nightmares, uh, which has one of the slickest brandings, if I may say so.
Yeah.
There's also the Omaha Vipers, the Narwhals, which you know from A Curry,
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand, not New Zealand, A Curry, Iceland as well, and then the Memphis Kings. So,
Nice. So we got Memphis and like a Norwegian team.
yep.
That's so awesome. Okay. And so their draft was 3/18, but now you come up on
No,
Thursday.
their draft is Thursday. The
Their draft
majors
Thursday.
was
Okay.
yes.
And the majors one, was there any big additions or was there anything that you could sit back and just sell me on something? Like sell me on what happened on 3/18 that's going to make an incredible impact going forward.
All right, I'm gonna say this: the Hammerheads had one of the wildest drafts I think I have ever seen in my life.
Okay. And why is
Um,
that?
so a lot of teams traded picks. The Hammerheads traded out of the second round. So they had one pick in the first round, which was second
Mm-hmm.
overall, and then they didn't pick for another, I think, 20 picks.
Mm-hmm.
What's amazing about that is they then had like seven other picks after that. Not a single one of them was bad. Like
Really?
they hit on every single one of them.
That's how
Like
you.
usually you can tell an user's active or inactive. They did their scouting, they did their research, and it showed.
Yeah, man, you love to see that. Yeah, you love to see that. Okay, so the Hammerheads completely changed their outlook going forward with this incredible draft. Any other big news items that come out of this thing that just happened?
So let's see. We pushed our preseason back a week. The reason is since we last spoke,
Hmm.
we've migrated from Google Sheets to the portal. The portal is actually something that's used by us and three other sim leagues, including
Okay.
the SBA, the EFL, and I'm blanking on what the third one is. I feel bad, but I'll get that one.
Damn,
But so anyway,
sucks.
we've migrated to the portal, which is this website that's going to let us really take the lead to the next level. For those who don't know, Toasty and myself, while we were on Google Sheets, were basically going, okay, why is this breaking now? It
Mhm.
felt like we were held together by uh, bubble gum and duct tape,
Hey, I
essentially.
don't mean to cut you off, but that's exactly what Madden feels like. All right, go ahead, continue.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But so like we had like everything on Google Sheets, which was really cool. And
Hmm.
there was like this whole flowchart of how everything flowed from one point to another. And
Hmm.
there are definitely some things the portal still is working to get towards. It's still in its infancy for us. We just had our first season with it last season. But that said, it's such a step in the next direction for us. It's really going to help us. We have a small bug right now with the draftees not being able to be signed by their major league team, but we're going to get that resolved. So
Man, that would
that's
suck for the Hammerheads have this amazing draft and they can't sign nobody.
well, we have a plan B for that. We've come up with a plan B in the event the season starts and they don't have anything. It'll take a little bit more manual work, but we do have a plan B.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, man. Is there anything that we missed as we were coming back up? For anybody that doesn't know, I want to hit it real quick. It's Super Casual Football Sim League. It is run on
Yes.
Access this year, Access 21. You do not come in there and just control the team where you just get to run and play against all these other people. It is done by Simming Games. You do control a user. That user comes in getting drafted. They go through a development league. They build it based on how much they watch the channel, right? They can use like
Yeah.
their channel points and like do all this. And then they just kind of grow your own player. So if you're out there and you're like, yo, I want to have this really cool experience where I don't have to sit down and actually play a game and get my butt whooped by all these kids, because that's kind of the experience I'm going through lately. I just think it's a really fun atmosphere. So if you're out there and you're looking for this, I highly recommend you hit these guys up. Where can they find you, bro?
Sure. So we have a Twitter handle, which is casual_sim. We also have a Discord, which is kind of where everything is.
The
Um,
Discord will be posted in this YouTube link. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go down there and their Discord will be there.
yep. You can also find the archive of our games. So we had the last member of the Axis team that I haven't had on the show for our Super Casual Bowl, I think a week ago. So you can still find that game right there on our Twitch, which is Super Casual Sim. Um, yeah, that's kind of where they can find us.
All right. Well, you guys heard it from here. I'll end with this. Okay, go Frosties. Rock
Ooh,
on.
you're
Hey, you know what? Like I said, bro. Let's actually talk like real football. We have the NFL season, right? And I got a few more minutes. You
yep.
got some minutes to burn. What
Oh
are your
yeah.
thoughts right now on the real NFL season?
So I won't lie. I'm going to answer that with sort of a question and sort of
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this as a dejected Jets fan. A while back, one of my head office members and I was in Vegas. He's like, "Hey, if you're ever in Vegas, hit me up."
Mm-hmm.
So I hit him up. We went to a bar. We got drinks. This is way back when I had first started. So I think that was what, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he always said, if you had to choose between the New York Jets winning or the Providence Crabs, the baseball team I was playing for in the baseball sim league that we're a huge partner of, the PBE, which would you choose? And so I actually chose the Crabs, and the reason is
Mm-hmm.
because I have an impact. That said, the Jets continue to amaze me in both good and bad ways. They seem like they're on the right course, which means I'm doomed for failure.
You're just like I am being a Cardinal fan, man. There's never good news. It's good news layered with crap.
That said, one of the things that I will be doing when we hit April, because I think the Deshaun Watson thing is a little eh. So
Mm-hmm.
we every month we have a charity where you can donate $5 and have a custom face on your player, or
Mm-hmm.
you can use channel points. So for that one, we will be doing the Cleveland Women's Domestic Violence Shelter, which is a great
Yeah.
organization. So for a $5 donation there, you can get a custom